John Wall and the Rockets have recently agreed to part ways via trade, and not many teams can trade for him because of his extremely high salary. But the Warriors have the assets to make a John Wall trade more doable for a team, that actually could trade for him and wants to trade for him, like the 76ers. Well, the Warriors can also capitalize on, the Rockets trying to trade some of their other veterans away, so the Rockets can fully immerse themselves in a rebuild centered around Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. Once again, this is a purely hypothetical situation, but I feel like this is the most realistic trade I've done so far, and the most likely one to happen out of any of the three that I've done recently, just considering some of the Warriors' needs at the center position, but it also suits the 76ers quite well to get some good value in return for Ben Simmons. So before I get started, we're extremely close to 500 subscribers, so I really appreciate it if you take a moment to subscribe. So without further ado, let's take a look at this trade. So obviously I already did another trade video with Ben Simmons, but it just makes sense considering the landscape of the league and the fact that he literally won't even report to the Sixers training camp next week. But besides the point, this makes sense for the Sixers and the Rockets as far as Ben Simmons wants to go to a different team, basically any team but the Sixers, and John Wall wants to go to a contender. So right off the bat, this makes sense. But having that being said, the Rockets and Sixers can't really get the value and young pieces that they want if they just did, a straight up trade. So this is where the Warriors can come in. And like I was saying, they can capitalize on the veterans that the Rockets want to get rid of, like Christian Wood. Now, is he really a veteran? No, it's not like he's been in the league too long, but he is turning 27. And considering just the age of, the other guys on the team like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, right? They're 20 years old. And Christian Wood doesn't really fit the timeline. And I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Wood requests a trade too, or even if just the Rockets look to trade him on their own. So right off the bat, the Sixers wanted a Harden-esque package back for Ben Simmons. Clearly they won't get that, but I think John Wall, right, getting a former All-Star point guard that still averaged 20 points and 7 assists last year, and getting Jonathan Kuminga, who is highly, highly, highly valuable, and Damian Lee, who's a good 3-and-D guy, kind of makes up, I guess, for sort of Matisse Thybulle and Steph Curry. Not really, but you get my point. This clearly gets some of the value that the Sixers were wanting. And on the side of the Rockets, Ben Simmons gets to go to a team out in the Sixers. And, the fit might be kind of, wonky with Jalen Green and Kevin Porter because they need the ball in their hands. But I think having a defensive-minded guy in the Rockets makes sense. And obviously you add in Wiseman there and kind of Seth Curry for salary reasons. But it makes sense in the Warriors' end because if you're going to get Christian Wood, who's only 27, kind of like the Karl-Anthony Towns thing, right? Kind of fits the Warriors' timeline while still sort of being on the younger side, I guess. You'd have to give it Wiseman in this case, especially to get an all-star caliber center like Christian Wood in return. And you might have to give up Kuminga too. That's why I threw him in there. Damian Lee is obviously in there for salary reasons, but you might have to give up Kuminga or Moody. I don't know if Kuminga would be thrown in there or not, but this is something, especially at the Rockets and Sixers, are considering because they can't just do a straight up trade between Ben Simmons and John Wall. They have to get another team involved, and this is where the Warriors can capitalize, get a center that fits their timeline, get another 20-point per game scorer, get a guy that's rim protector, and really a guy that you can trust, because Wiseman, he's obviously long-term, Kuminga is long-term, but you're going to have to develop both those guys. I don't even know if the Sixers want Kuminga. You could even throw in Looney for the Sixers if, you wanted to, get more of a veteran presence. I guess in Philly as your backup instead of Kuminga, and the Warriors can still keep Kuminga, which probably ideally they want to keep. So this is the trade overall, and as far as the Warriors go, they would get Matisse Thybulle too, but I don't know if that would really happen as well. Obviously, I think Shake Milton would be a bit more realistic, only because the Sixers want to, keep Matisse Thybulle for his defense, especially in the playoffs. So this is the trade I've laid out. Once again, purely hypothetical. Not saying this will happen, but this is definitely something the Rockets and Sixers might be considering because a 3-team trade would make more sense to get a trade done quicker, and so each team involved kind of get good value that they want for each of the players and get obviously ideal players in return. So hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown and a mock trade. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.